Hey everybody, and welcome to Godless Weekly, episode 6. This week we're going to talk about taking risks with writing and taking risks in horror. As you can tell, I'm playing a looped beat from the song Take a Walk by the Tall Boys. This was a song from the movie Return of the Living Dead. When Return of the Living Dead came out, it was a really risky movie written and directed by Dan O'Bannon, who you might know is the writer of Alien, some little movie about an alien in space killing people. So he made this movie that was a total risk. And not only was it a risk because it was really focused around punk rock and kind of like a counterculture and things like that, but also that he changed the face of how we perceive zombies and the living dead forever. Before that movie, there were never zombies that could fucking talk and think and be clever. And also they were fast as fuck, dude. If you remember that scene when they just fucking bum rushed the ambulance, it's like, send more cops. It's just, you'll never forget it. And O'Bannon took a huge risk with this because it was against everything that was in the trope of zombie films that came before it, for the most part. A second thing that I want to talk about today, which is the punk rock part of it and the character of Suicide. I'm going to show a clip at the end of this intro. Just the biggest fucking poser in the history of the universe. So let's get into it, man. I really want to go fast with this, so I want to get into it and go hard and go quick. Check out Suicide. Your fucking boy. Poser.
Nobody understands me, you know that? I fucking bust my ass for you guys, and what do I get? You're spooky. Fuck you, man. Fuck you all.
I like it spooky.
I mean, I got something to say, you know? What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life.
This is Godless Weekly, and I'm Drew Stepek. Yay. I'm here to talk about this kind of like taking risks and being unique and setting yourself apart from everybody else. It's really important, especially with how crowded the indie horror scene is right now, that you need to differentiate yourself and not just be like everyone else or try and outdo anyone else. The question that I get asked the most often about the Godless platform is, how far can I push it? How extreme can I be? You shouldn't go into writing a story or writing a book or writing a poem or anything thinking about how extreme you can be. Thinking about what's the most brutal rape scene I can come up with, or how can I outgross Simon McCarty? You don't need to think like that, man. You need to go into it and write good. That should be your fucking focus. I need to write a good story. I need to write something that, whether it has a ton of fucking violence in it, or misogyny, or brutal beatings and killings and splatter, that doesn't fucking matter, dude. Write a story that is going to connect to an audience, and then you can bring that audience in, and then they're going to follow you, and then they're going to want more. Going into writing and saying, hey man, I want to write a really fucking awesome rape scene. That's just fucking outrageous, man, and it's stupid. You don't go into anything saying I want to write a great rape scene because I want to be like this guy or this horror author from the fucking 90s. It's bullshit, dude. You don't think that way. The way you should approach writing, or at least the way I do, so I'm not telling you this is the way you should approach it, is you should take a trope, because almost every trope in horror has been done. So you need to start anew. You take that, you fucking strip it down and deconstruct it to the fucking bare minimum. I did that with Knuckle Supper. I took it apart and I said, how could a vampire exist in our fucking world and be believable? It's about creating something unique and creating something from these these old stories, something new and unique and fresh and something to grab readers' attentions. Writing a fucking scene about kidnapping a girl and raping her for 3 days isn't fucking new. It's not unique, and therefore it's not fucking edgy. Don't be a fucking follower. Be a leader. Come up with your own fucking ideas. Put your own spin on things. And don't just try and outdo someone else who has found a following for being fucking hardcore. You know what I mean? It doesn't make you hardcore to want to be someone hardcore. That makes you a fucking poser, right? You know? Back in my day, yes, I'm old as fuck, I get it. Fucking, the word trendy was a very, very, very shitty thing to fucking call someone. It meant poser. And I don't know, over the past 100 or so years, since I've gotten older, why trendy has become a term of endearment. Because it's bullshit. It means you're a fucking follower, and it means you follow trends, and it means you're a poser. So don't go into your writing being a fucking poser. I want to be like Stephen King. I want to be like Clive Barker. I want to be like Brian Keene, or whatever. Just be you. Write good and write you, man. Our buzz book this week is Mother Maggot Uncensored. This fucking thing came out last Saturday. It is by Simon McCarty. It is the fully unedited manuscript for the original Mother Maggot. Plus Simon did us all a huge favor and wrote 2,500 extra words to it. And when I speak about genre defining and writing from your own point of view and coming up with your own thing, Simon did that with Mother Maggot, and it completely changed the path of his writing. A featured author this week is the one and only Patrick C. Harrison III, or as he's known in the industry, PC3. PC3 is this really unique voice from Texas. He's the editor-in-chief at Death's Head Press, and he's also this really outstanding writer. For the most part, his entire library is available right now on Godless, except for a few titles. Go on Godless and check out Patrick's titles, man. You won't be disappointed. This guy is a fucking anchor of the industry right now, and a powerhouse in his own right. He is a true master of horror. Our risk-taking emerging author this week is Mandred Weichsel. I'm pronouncing that correctly. I've asked him several times to help me pronounce his last name. It is Weich, like Mike, and then Sell, like sell yourself. He recently came out with this book called Five Maidens and the Pentagram, and it's got a similar kind of, cover to Ubu Gogo. I mean, kind of, right? It's like sexually exploitive and in kind of a cartoony and weird way. I think that he's the perfect person for this kind of like risk-taking authors week, and especially the emerging author, because he does things differently. He doesn't look at someone else's work and say, I want to do something like that. He also has this awesome series called Tales to Make You Vomit, and again, cartoony, EC comic-y type covers, and really, really, really awesome, sarcastically clowny horror, just unique. This is a new segment I'm going to start doing. It's called Drew's Conclusions. It's kind of like Jerry Springer's Final Thought, only it's like way shittier and I didn't write anything, so I'm just going to continue to fucking rant and be a bitch like I usually do. I want you guys to realize that you're good enough being you, and you're better at being you than you are trying to outdo somebody else, right? So I was talking to my homeboy, fucking John Stepek Jr. today, or as I call him, Shoop, and I also call him the Iron City Sheik. He gets it. And I was talking about this topic with him, the topic of extreme and splatter and classifying and trying to outdo another author who plays in these genres. And he wrote this really profound thing back to me about his work. And I wanted to read it to you. I got it okayed with him. I would have read it too anyway. I don't give a fuck what that motherfucker thinks about me. So here's what he said. And you guys should listen to this because he's 100% right, man. So I remember writing Separating You. Section 3 is all about the nose. Training yourself to endure the smell of a dead body. In the very first paragraph, originally said something like, shit in there. You climb down beside the body and start fucking it. In the editing process, I realized if you say they shit themselves and you embrace the corpse rather than fucking it, it sticks with you more because now you have to think back and decide, what did he mean by embrace? Oh my God. And he's fucking right, dude. That's exactly it. That is 100,000% more unsettling than if he had just written, I sat down next to a corpse that fucking shit on itself and I fucking fucked it. Because the word embrace is in this context is so alarming and unsettling that it made it so much better and powerful and profound. If we think back to the original example I gave in the start of this video about Return of the Living Dead, you have to think about O'Bannon's process when creating that. I think it's really important to point that out. He came up with something different, and he presented it in a very different way than what we were used to with zombie and Night of the Living Dead type movies. On top of that, he also presented this kind of insider look into punk rock. And when you're presented with this character like Suicide, with his, chain to his ear, from his nose, and his dumb outfit, that he was like saying that like, this isn't a fucking costume. It's like, that was such an insider thing at the time, that when punk rock became trendy, right, in the early 80s, it lost its toughness, its badassness. It lost its extremeness. I worked as a producer for the X Games in the early 2000s, and the word extreme in general was really fucking frowned upon, dude. It's like all the pro skaters and BMX riders and shit, they wanted it to be referred to as action sports. And there's a reason for that. Is because you'd turn on the TV at that time and you'd see a fucking Six Flags roller coaster commercial and be like, extreme! And you're like, fuck, dude. So think about that. When you try to paint yourself into a genre or a label, just be fucking you. When you write good. Write a story. Write something unique. Write you. Be you. Always be you. Don't try and be someone else or be better than someone else, because that's just going to end up fucking you in the end. Be yourself. I love you guys, and we'll see you next time at Drew's Conclusions.